Another day with plenty of sun and blue sky at famed Belmont Park with the massive mile-and-a-half main track, the test of the champion, a week old. And that's the one thing that hit me coming into work today. Belmont Stakes Day already a week ago. It's hard to believe, but time is going fast. We'll settle it down, get into a nice, smooth gallop on tonight's edition of Belmont Insider. It's the Richard Migliore, Jason Blewitt. And again, Richie, are you surprised the Belmont's already a week old, an American Pharoah sweep?
It doesn't feel like a week's gone by. The time has flown. And maybe it's because we're just all still a little bit high in the afterglow of witnessing that historic 12th Triple Crown winner. Or maybe for me, because I had yesterday off.
Andy Serling filled in last night, did his good usual job. It's good to have you back, though. You look good, and we're rocking from the gate, man. We have just got two hands on the rein as we get set to launch on Belmont Insider.
I mean, I heard he did a good job. Should I be nervous here? Am I hearing footsteps?
No, you're good to go.
Okay?
Don't worry.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And congratulations to the Morleys, Maggie Wolfendale and Tom Morley tying the knot over in England today. Plenty of fans have asked me over the last few days, where's Maggie? Where's Maggie? Well, she's getting married. She's off the market, and best of luck to those two. We'll have Maggie back with us in about a week and a half or so. But we hope to have American Pharoah back, maybe for the Midsummer Derby. We'll keep our fingers crossed. The people at Churchill Downs, however, are going to get a glimpse at racing's newest hero and 12th Triple Crown winner tonight, and he hit the main track this morning for a nice little gallop.
You know, it seems like he's come out of this Triple Crown pretty fresh. I mean, they're going to, kind of assess him and see how he trains and how he carries his weight. They've talked about a few different options for him, but the fact that he's back to the track already and he's just looks as bright as a horse could possibly look coming off of that arduous grind of the Triple Crown. I mean, it's great. And you know what? The fact that he's parading tonight at Churchill Downs, I was listening to Jay Hovde on the radio the other day, and he was saying how it doesn't matter if he never runs again as long as he goes around and parades at different tracks, because the people are going to come out to see him. They're going to want to tell their children and their grandchildren, I got to see American Pharoah.
Bob Baffert and the team has been very gracious with American Pharoah. Children at the barn the last few mornings. I guess there's been a steady stream, a steady parade of visitors hoping to get a glimpse at the Triple Crown here. And Todd Pletcher certainly had a glimpse of American Pharoah a week ago. Had his binoculars, I'm assuming, fixed on the big horse off the far turn. Prior to that, it was on Materiality and Made from Lucky, who he was hoping to take down the Belmont Stakes with last Saturday. It didn't work out, but that being said, your stars come out and they get it done on your big days, and the Pletcher barn walked away with 3 wins on Belmont Day.
Well, it's interesting, just the disparity, and some of his horses just didn't show up, didn't run at all. Competitive Edge comes to mind. And then he had some horses that just ran out of their shoes, and he had 3 wins on the day. Most trainers would be very happy with that.
And who's going where? Second half of this Belmont meet is underway. Saratoga's not too far off in the future, and the Mig caught up with Todd to find out again who's going where.
Todd, coming out of Belmont weekend, you had a couple of horses were so impressive. First of all, Rock Falls, that was about as good a sprinting performance as I've seen this year. Where do you go next with him?
Right now we're leaning towards just waiting on the Vanderbilt. Seems to run well fresh, and it's a grade 1, so we're hoping for that. Right now that's the plan.
Any possibility of the Breeders' Cup being at Keeneland, that you might try to get a prep there later in the fall?
Well, that's what we're going to have to think about. I'll need to see where that prep is situated timing-wise for the Breeders' Cup. He won at Keeneland, so we know he likes the track, but he also likes Belmont, and so maybe the Vosburg would be a good final prep. But that's kind of what we're thinking right now. We think he's good enough to consider those races.
Coralina in the Acorn, really rough, rocky beginning. Looked like she had no shot. Got back in the race. Were you surprised she was able to continue running after that start?
Well, after she got sandwiched, I thought we were in huge trouble, and then she made a huge middle move, and I said, "There's no way she can sustain that kind of run." And to her credit, she did. I thought it was arguably as strong a performance as we saw on the day.
Will you give her a little bit more time, wait till Saratoga, because that was kind of a tough race, or what's the plan?
Yeah, the Mother Goose comes back in 21 days, and off that kind of effort, I don't think that'll work, so we'll just wait for the coaching club.
Todd, Materiality and Made from Lucky, kind of subpar performances from them in the Belmont. How'd they come out of the race, and what are you looking at next?
Yeah, Materiality and Made from Lucky, they just didn't fire, and the one thing that concerned me going in is we've had a virus in the barn, and all these horses, obviously we wouldn't run them if they showed any symptoms of that, but it kind of makes you wonder if there wasn't something kind of harboring there that we couldn't see subclinically, because it wasn't typical of the way either one of them run.
Yeah, I mean, they're both much nicer horses. Do you think you'll point either one of them for the Haskell or something at Saratoga?
Well, I think Made from Lucky will either look at the Jim Dandy or the West Virginia Derby in materiality, either the Jim Dandy or the Haskell, assuming that he trains accordingly.
Okay. Todd, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Organizational skills, bar none. It's amazing he's able to, and he's got good help and a big crew underneath him. But the way Todd Pletcher can map out just a far-flung and far-reaching operation, let's just quickly pop, and you touched upon it with Todd, Rockfall, who there were so many good efforts here over the last few weeks or leading up to the Belmont, but they were kind of lost in the shuffle with American Pharoah. He was as good as anybody all weekend long winning the True North.
Yeah, it was a dazzling performance, and the fact that he was able to translate that form to tougher horses. You know, sometimes a horse looks great dominating allowance fields or weaker fields. He took on a tougher field and just dominated again. He was spectacular in victory.
3 for 3 on the year. There is room at the top of the sprint division for him. I believe he fits. And last couple buyers, 109 and 110 in the True North. He is fast. All right, we've got a lot to talk about, including Todd Pletcher's all-included, who's looking for 4 consecutive wins on the turf. He faced a good field, a big field, as we get things off and running in the 30th running of the poker with Larry Comas.
Got speed 2, and How Great is away running in 3rd. Then it's all included. Il Campione to the outside, 2.5 to Long on Value. Vijack is after that. And then the trailers, who are Paris, Vegas, and In Spite of It All. So now the field continues their way up the backstretch in pursuit of King Crisa. The New York bred leads the way and has opened up a 2-length early advantage after a 23-3 opening quarter mile. Heart to Heart is second. How Great is third to the outside. All included is fourth. Then the Chilean Il Campione, fifth on the outside, 5 lengths off the lead. Tracked by Vijack. Long on Values down toward the rail. And then comes Paris Vegas. In Spite of It All, the long shot last. King Crisa leads the field into the far turn. Goes by a half mile in 47 3/5 seconds. Heart to Heart is 2 lengths behind in second. How Great is third. Il Campione on the outside fourth. All included is down at the rail, 4 lengths off the lead, and then it's Vijack. Around the far turn, it is still King Crisa, who has led every step of the way. Heart to Heart and How Great are right there in contention. All included saves every inch of ground in behind the front runners, and they're into the stretch. And it is King Crisa in front. To the outside, Il Campione makes a run now. All included is there. Vijack is closing on the far outside. Into the final 16th. King Crisa still there. King Crisa, Il Campione, and Vijack down to the line. King Crisa did it. He went all the way to win the poker over Vijack. And then it was Il Campione. And all included was fourth.
This horse, as honest as the day is long, and this is a lesson. You leave a good horse alone on the front end, he's going to probably beat you, and it was game, set, match early in the poker.
King Crisa will make you pay if you let him get any sort of a breather up on the lead. And if you'd have told me, looking at this race on paper, Jason, going into it, that they would go a half in 47 3, I would have taken the bet. There's no way that it went that slow. Now, I wouldn't say it was a slow pace, but it was slower than I anticipated it being because it appeared to be more speed signed on.
Second career win in the poker, 2 years apart. We'll elaborate after the MIG catches up with winning rider Jose Ortiz.
Jose, a terrific ride. You got a pretty easy lead. Were you surprised to make the lead that easy? It looked like a lot of speed in the race.
Yeah, I was surprised a little bit. You know, the 4-horse, it looked like a fast horse. Last time he went 44, but, you know, different track, different strategy. I think he set it up well for me.
Set up really well. You seem very confident in the stretch. Could you feel how much he was running underneath you?
Yeah, you know, I saw a lot of rip of the horse. I rode him well. I can see that. And I think, you know, I can look at it and trying to ride him how he rode him.
Well, you rode him just as well as your brother. This is the first time on him. Do you think he's a horse, though, that can go more than a mile? It seems like a mile is about his best distance.
Not his best distance. Mile. Maybe he could go stretch a little bit, but mile is perfect.
Well, you were perfect on him today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
New York bred, gelding by King Kugat, about the training job with David Don, getting a horse who has had documented layoffs and hoof issues throughout most of his career.
Just a tremendous job. And, you know, we caught up with Dave the other day, and we talked specifically about his success with turf horses, success with horses off of the layoff. He just does a phenomenal job. Unfortunately, he wasn't here today. He had a family obligation in Indiana, so he's got his priorities straight, though.
I'm sure he watched the race on NYRA.com, without a doubt. We've got that current Bet 100, get 100 for new members. Check that out after the show. Vijak ran well picking up the pieces, and King Creaser, the third horse to win the poker more than once. Back at Belmont Park, and a look at the park. Massive 400-plus acre oasis, top-class thoroughbred racing, the duck pond, and no better place to bring Dad next Sunday on Father's Day.
Oh, what father doesn't want to go out to the races, bet a few horses, enjoy maybe a beer in the backyard, a good time? Father's Day at Belmont Park. I know we'll be here. Well, I'm a father. You're not. Yeah.
I am not. I'm a proud uncle.
There you go.
And I'm happy to. Well, I have a dog, so in a way, it's some odd way, and I can't wait. Augie.
Okay.
And he's named after August Belmont. Can't wait to finish this show and go home and see Mr. August. Let's move on to race number 3. We'll see you out here Father's Day with Dad. We've got the Knob Creek Bourbon tasting in the backyard on Father's Day and a car show in addition to the top-class thoroughbred racing. But it's to the third. Larry Comas, field of 5, and a real bad stumble with Cool Samurai.
Being unseated there was Rajiv Mirage on Cool Samurai. He managed to stay on, but he was almost completely off the horse. It's Sinistra who goes out to take the early lead, and then it's Spa City Fever in second. On the outside is Touch of Star Quality. Hereditary is going to be fourth early on, racing about 2 lengths off the lead, and Cool Samurai's lost all chance here after stumbling and nearly unseating Rajiv Mirage. It was a miracle he stayed on. The opening quarter mile was 24 1/5 seconds. Sinistra's the leader. Spa City Fever's 3/4 of a length behind. Touch of Star Quality is third, and Hereditary is fourth, and they're a 16th of a mile ahead of the trailer Cool Samurai. So they continue their way up the backstretch. 24 1 was the opening quarter for Sinistra, who runs by a half in 47 4/5 seconds. Spa City Fever, 3/4 of a length behind. And then to the outside, it's Touch of Star Quality. Hereditary is fourth as they move into the turn, and he's 3 lengths off the lead. Around the far turn, and it is Sinistra in front. Spa City Fever turns up the heat on the outside. Touch of Star Quality goes up there 3 wide. Hereditary and Javier Castellano right behind them. Just 2 lengths off the lead as the first 3 race across the track after 3/4 in 1:12 2. And Touch of Star Quality goes up on the outside of Spa City Fever to take the lead. There's running room between those two for Hereditary, who's third as they turn for home. And the leader is Touch of Star Quality. Touch of Star Quality has opened up to lead by 4 lengths here over Hereditary at the 8th pole. And Spa City Fever is third behind Touch of Star Quality, who was a sharp winner here. Touch of Star Quality eased up by 5 over Hereditary, and then it was Spa City Fever.
Cool Samurai's highlighted. How about this stumble, Mig? This was unbelievable.
This was like 3 different stumbles. There's the first one. Gets up. There's the second one. There's the third one. It's remarkable that this horse got back on his feet, and just at the athletic prowess of Rajiv Mirage to get back in the middle of him. I went down to the jockey's room, and I was teasing him. I said, quit showing off with the trick riding, huh? And he said, that was fear that made me hold on. But you know what it was? It was his athleticism and his balance. Good job by Rajiv. Hope the horse is okay.
In addition to Cool Samurai, so impressed, as you said, that he was able to stay on his feet and smooth on his feet off the quarter pole. This horse, 5-year-old son of Mineshaft, Touch of Star Quality, who made it look easy for Michelle Nevin and JMS.
He looked like he was well named today. Last time he had a fast main track at Belmont Park, he broke his maiden from well off the pace. Today he looked like a winner every step of the way.
Yeah, Chase Coach Inge last time out at the Big A in the mud. He was much better on a fast track today. And again, congratulations to Michelle Nevin with the horse that has had some lengthy layoffs but has a good amount of talent. Jose Ortiz is a perfect 2 for 2 on the show. Let's see how he did against a good group of riders in race number 6 as Larry Comas takes it to the backstretch.
Who go out to the front. On the outside of them, Flamingo Lane came out running in 5th, moves up a spot into 4th now, and then it's Chrysolite in 6th. They're being followed by Principal Equation, and Tap It Out trails early and races 10 lengths off the lead as they head on to the backstretch in pursuit of Rosedale Arch, who's pushed along by Morning Star on the outside. These two complete a quarter in 24 4/5 seconds. It's a decent pace. Giant's Jewel is running in 3rd, racing 3 lengths off the lead, and then it's Flamingo Lane, Graceful Grit to the inside, and right behind behind them is Chrysolite. Then Principal Equation. Tap It Out, last of them all, and still about 9 behind as they continue for the turn. Rosedale Arch and Luis Saez lead the way. Morning Star continues to put the pressure on through a 48 and 4.5 mile. Giants Jewel, 2.5 lengths off of them, third as they race into the far turn. Then it's Flamingo Lane, Graceful Grit to the inside, and Chrysolite. Tap It Out, 7 lengths off the lead at this stage, and last of them all is Principal Equation. Around the far turn, Rosedale Arch is the leader. On the outside, Morning Star, Flamingo Lane coming up to them 3 wide. And just in behind the leaders is Giants Jewel along with Graceful Grit, and Tap It Out is coming too in between rivals. Chrysolite is there on the far outside. Into the final furlong, Morning Star in front, Flamingo Lane to the outside. Center of the course comes Graceful Grit. Tap It Out's in behind them, and then it's Giants Jewel on the inside and Chrysolite, and they're coming down to the line, and here comes Graceful Grit on the outside to get there. Over Morning Star, and then Flamingo Lane and Tap It Out.
Confident, perfect, well-timed ride. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard the winner.
Well, if it's not Irad Ortiz, it's Jose Ortiz. The Ortiz brothers putting on a clinic today. Graceful Grit, like you said, well-timed ride, puts the stick away and gets there under a hand ride. You know these guys take so much pride in it. They don't want to just win. They want to win with style.
And he was very confident in both of his turf wins today, Irad Ortiz, waiting until pretty much the last minute to really set his horse down and take the stick out, and was able in this one with Graceful Grit to narrowly outfinish everybody to his inside, including the slow pace pulling Morning Star.
Yeah, great job by him. And how about Christophe Clement? Just one horse from Europe after another. He gets them here. They acclimate. They do good. Just a tremendous horseman winning at a high percentage.
And he got this one straightened out, Graceful Grit. Her New York debut and U.S. debut a few weeks ago at the Big A was a disaster. She was rank. She was miserable. Today, a seasoned pro, and it all worked out as the slight favorite in race number 6. Saturday 7 sound okay to you?
Yeah, the Saturday 7, very good.
Let's do it. As we've got fans hanging out. In fact, Churchill just getting underway with their Downs After Dark car. They'll have the Stephen Foster a bit later. Our good buddy Travis Stone will be calling the races. Watch and wager at NYRA.com. But it's the Saturday 7 for us here on Insider with the calls of 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Run 3/4 in 1:15 flat and turns for home, still in front. In fact, gets a bit of daylight here. It's a 1.5 lead. And Weekend Hottie is second on the outside. And here comes Light Years Away down the center of the course. Light Years Away runs by just enough laughter. Weekend Hottie is third as they come down to the line. It's going to be Light Years Away to win it. Just Enough Laughter ran a good one for second, and then it was Weekend Hottie and Dixie Gem. Boots and Summit Moon, the others are far behind, and they're into the stretch, and Summit Moon has taken over under a hand ride from Edmund Furtado. It is Summit Moon in front by almost 2. Cowboy Boots on the inside second, and it's a long way back to Sunny Cider in third. They're coming down to the line, and Summit Moon made it look easy. Cowboy Boots, 2 lengths behind at the finish, and then Sunny Cider and Sunrise Lover. Eco and Riviere de Lou will turn for home together, and Lay It Down is angling to the outside of them, and they're into the stretch. Heiko, Riviere de Lou, and Lay It Down on the outside. These 3 come to the final 1/8 of a mile. Riviere de Lou, Lay It Down on the outside. Late speed from Best Play down toward the rail. Here's Lay It Down on the inside. Riviere de Lou fights back. These 2 down to the line, and it's going to be Lay It Down over Riviere de Lou. Third is very close, and on charging Liberal Spin and Best Play is the leader. Choir Director moves up on the outside and is now second as they come into the stretch, and the favorite Tis the Moment has plummeted through the field and is last as Knuckle Curve's got something left in the tank here. Knuckle Curve is pulling away from Choir Director. Fitzgerald's going to be third. Knuckle Curve finishing strong under the wire to win it by 6 or 7 in the end. And then it was Choir Director, Fitzgerald, and Bluegrass Rye. Unrepented and graham crackers, and here comes Sister Sophia now. Sister Sophia is charging on the far outside. She's got to get to graham crackers at the 8th pole. Sister Sophia runs up alongside of graham crackers. Pourvu is closing on the far outside. Down toward the inside, Unrepented and Fantastic Eyes and Missy Bay. It's Sister Sophia from last to first. And then it was Graham Crackers, Missy Bay, and Fantastic Eye. Cuts the corner. Golden It is back running in fourth. 3/4 in 1:11.1. They're into the stretch. And it is Conspiracy still grimly holding off Preterio. Preterio draws even with Conspiracy. Finding Candy's coming up the rail. And on the far outside, looking cool, trying to get into the mix late. Preterio in front. Conspiracy to the inside. Finding Candy is third, coming down to the line. It is Preterio and Rajiv Mirage to win. Finding Candy got second from Conspiracy. Look, Long Island Express, Anton B. and Sabonic. And they turn for home together. And Sabonic has taken the lead. And on the far outside, here comes Jack's Heritage. Heavenly Sun is there right behind horses. And coming from the back of the pack, too, on the outsider, Old Friend and Talladega, who is far behind, is making up good ground on the extreme outside, but it's going to be Jack's Heritage to win it. And then it was Old Friend second, close for third between Heavenly Sun.
We like a jockey who's confident, and Rajiv Mirage tweeted out today he was sitting on a big Saturday, said he was live in multiple races, and he took down the late double in races 9 and 10.
Yeah, for Mark Hennig, who we actually made an exchange. I got fresh radishes for fresh eggs. So we're doing a little bartering, and Mark gets the money with Rajiv, who I think's been riding terrific.
Yeah, Raj, very strong rider, very prepared as we get back to Cappy in the Saturday second look. Race number 2, they were off at about 151, and Summit Moon, take us through, Big, the last quarter mile.
Well, we just saw Edmund Furtado on his second mount of the meet, looking back as though he's on Slew of Gold. He's Cordero on Slew of Gold in the Whitney with Gulch inside of him, and this was just about as confident a ride as you're going to see. I mean, for a guy who doesn't get many opportunities, this horse certainly runs from. John Kimmel has Summit Moon in good form now, going in the right direction, but maybe he just needed Edmund Furtado on him.
You like that perfect percentage, too. Very few guys in this colony have a percentage of perfect, and you got Summit Moon, who's gelding by Malibu Moon, going pretty good these days for Toby Morton, John Kimmel, and Mr. Furtado. Let's move on to the rider standings with another card down, another Saturday in the chart books forever, and young Jose Ortiz had himself a nice little hat trick.
He was the riding star of the day with 3 wins, but his brother Irad Ortiz has put a lot of separation on him and Javier Castellano in the jockey standings.
All right, quiet day for Pletcher, Chad Brown, Kier McLaughlin, Bill Mott wound up running second in the poker. Good effort. Good turf debut, by the way, with Vijak.
Yeah, Vijak really ran well on the grass. Maybe they found what he wants, but he also, that 1 mile distance, I think, is critical, too.
Day number 33 this was, and we've got Michael Dubb atop the owner standings with 10, David Jacobson with 8, and a whole bunch of people with 5, 4, and 3 claims. Let's see. No, there were a bunch, including Looking Cool, who went for $50K out of the same race as Conspiracy.
Yeah, Mike Rapoli, maybe he's gearing up for another run at that Saratoga title. He's kind of loosening up the purse strings, and he had a win today, too.
Yeah, with Preterio in race number 9 with Bruce Levine, who sits at 1,999 career winners. We've got the Sunday preview and a Pick 6 carryover coming up. Pastoral views, the backyard cannot be beat. Took a walk down into the backyard area yesterday, and it was a hot, humid day, but was really not surprised. But I go, man, I spend so many of my working days and racing days on the front side of the building. There's just so many places to get lost in the shade back there.
Yeah, just a beautiful park setting, and even down at the quarter pole, you've got barbecue areas. I mean, it's just a great place to come spend a weekend afternoon.
And we are ready for those 3 p.m. first posts the next 3 Fridays, beginning with this one coming up Friday, June 19th, as we kick off Father's Day weekend. It's the MIG. It's Jason. Glad you're still with us as we wrap things up with a look at Angela Renee, who makes her turf debut in a very competitive Wild Applause.
It doesn't really have much turf pedigree to speak of. She did work on the turf, a few times, actually 3 times in a row here at Belmont. Todd must see something he likes. I'm not going to question his judgment, but she's going to have to show that she likes the grass as much as some of her better dirt races.
Celestine, pretty good in the weight a while. In fact, she is breathing fire these days.
I really like this mare. I remember talking to Rajiv Mirage after the wait a while last time, and he said she definitely will go further. He likes her a lot. 7 furlongs last time, a mile this time. She's got tactical speed. There's a lot to like.
Chad Brown, who's got a bevy of 3-year-old turf fillies, sends out a pair, including Partisan Partisan Politics, who was a good 2-year-old last summer.
Good 2-year-old last summer, only beaten 6 3/4 lengths in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf to her more heralded stablemate, Lady Eli. What would Lady Eli look like in this race? I think that's how you got to look at Partisan Politics.
Fair enough. She'd be 1-5 in this spot, Lady Eli, and Chad's good off layoffs. It's a very compelling wild applause for a non-graded stake, and you've got Lady Eli as like, she's the bar that every other filly is compared to. I was pleasantly surprised going through the field. It's a good race.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very strong race, and interesting. You don't think you won't get any of these in the Belmont Oaks, but it just shows, I think, the depth of this division.
And speaking of depth, we've got our third analyst standing by. That is Andy Serling with who to look for in Sunday's nightcap.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, no matter how your week has gone, let's try to end it on a good note. Sunday's 9th race, I think, is a pretty interesting race. One of the reasons I think it's an interesting race is the 2 Stardom is likely to be the favorite, assuming he runs, because he's been entered a couple times in seemingly easier spots and been scratched out of both of them. Been a long time for a horse who last raced in the turf and on paper may look like he ran okay finishing 3rd. I didn't like his effort that day. Now, maybe something happened because it's been a long time, but I want to bet against Stardom coming back off the layoff, dropping into this spot. My play is the 11 El Genio, who, like Stardom, was off a long, long layoff in his last start when he came back almost 2 years after running second in a brutal beat on Belmont Stakes Day. He got a very useful prep in his return. He was involved in a wicked fast pace that completely collapsed. In fact, a horse involved with that pace with him came back to win against Easier earlier in the week. El Genio actually has the pedigree to handle the turf, handle it enough that I think he could be in the right spot. I think El Genio will be an okay price in the 9th race. A good race, in my opinion, to fool around as we head back to Jason and Richie.
We'll head back to us so we can say goodnight. Best of luck to El Genio. Andy will be on Talking Horses with Mike Beer, and the Mig and I will be on the Sunday edition of Belmont Insider tomorrow night right here on MSG+.